All right, so this is an awesome experience. We got a big gun. Got a big gun in here today. So I'm used to asking my 4 questions, but got to switch the format up just a little bit because we've got the Derek Fertig in the hot seat today. Well, Derek, we go back a long time. I mean, we go back, I'd say almost like 2 decades. It's got to be pushing maybe the 15-year benchmark. But I've seen you kind of go through all of these awesome things. I know you as a Marine, as a leader, as a businessman, and a family man now. So we're going to kind of get into that a little bit. So Derek, how did you get into the industry? But most specifically, what brought you over to Fairway?
Yeah, nothing particular got me into the industry. It was literally just, it's a long story, but the Cliff Notes version is that, you know, I had just gotten out of the military. I was working in the Pentagon, and in my former life or my previous career, I was in IT. So I was a network architect, and I designed all the email infrastructures for the Office of Secretary of Defense for like 180,000 users. And when I tell people that, they're like, "Oh, that's so cool."
Right. It was like, that's what I want to say. That's awesome, dude. Like that's really cool.
It was like super boring.
But still, that's really cool.
Extremely monotonous. Yeah. But anyway, I had a friend move down to Florida, and just by happenstance, I got introduced to this other individual, and we became friends. And I remember the time frame of him moving down was roughly February, because in Virginia it was cold. And this other individual that I met asked me if I wanted to go golfing in February, and I was like, "Hell yeah! It's February. It's snowing, right?" Yeah. And so we just stayed in touch. And he's like, "Oh, dude, you know, I was much different, and my priorities and the things that were appealing to me at 24 are significantly different now at almost 44. So what really kind of got me thinking about making the move was that he was in the mortgage business, and we were at breakfast at Offerdalls down on almost Las Olas.
Excellent.
And this is like 2004, and the Bentley Continental just came out, the
there
GT.
You go.
Yeah, so
that was one of my favorites for the longest time.
It was my favorite.
It's such a gorgeous car.
That's literally where I'm going with this. So we were sitting outside, and we were having like an egg sandwich, and this silver Continental rolls up, and I was like, "Oh, dude, that's my favorite car." He's like, "Man, you move down here and you have a couple good months, you can pay for one of those cash." And I was like, "Really?" He said, "Yeah, man." I was like, "Okay." And so, but I was very risk adverse. You know, I kind of, in my mind, had my whole life mapped out. Like, I was going to be a 9-to-5 guy, super stable job, I had a salary with the government. Like, it couldn't get any better. And then it did.
But wait, there's more, you know?
Yeah, it just had a rough week at work. We had a rotation, and I was on call, and where I was living was like an hour from the Pentagon, and that was close in commute terms at that time. And I got home, it was a Friday night, pager goes off. I get called back up to the job site. I remember working Friday, Saturday, Sunday, and then I think it was Monday, because it was like the Tuesday morning meeting, and I came up, and you know, I was like, I remember like no food, living off vending machine food like Doritos, Red Bull, Cheetos, protein bars, no sleep, and recovered all this information. We had a data breach, so somebody sent like a secure email.
Are we allowed to share this information? Is this like top secret information? I'm not gonna get the FBI's not gonna come find me after this. All right.
So, but yeah, dude. I mean, like it was simple. So I worked like 4 days straight. I was exhausted, and I remember my manager Matt was like, "Oh man, I'm gonna take such good care of you." And I'm thinking,
that's a fake name. That's not his real name, by the way. We have to protect names here.
And that's yeah, he did not take good care of me. He gave me a $50 gift card to Outback, and at that time I was like, "Oh man, this is kind of not like what I had in mind when you said take care of." And then I just started kind of like, it made me reevaluate everything. I was like, what's my peak here? Like have I plateaued? In order to move up, it's almost like the military. You need somebody to retire in order to take their spot. And I was looking for much more. I was extremely ambitious at that age. And then I called my buddy up who was living here, and I was like, "Yeah, like for real? Is this for real? Because I'm literally about to quit. If I move down there, you know, is this for real?" And he's like, "I got you." And that was it. I went to my manager Matt, and I was like, "Hey man, I got this other opportunity. It is not in the IT space. It's in something completely unrelated. I'd be moving to Florida. If for whatever reason it doesn't work out, would you hire me back? And he goes, absolutely. And that was a safety net that I needed. And I was like, all right, dude, I hate to do it, but I'm going to quit. And I sold all my stuff on Craigslist, and I was down here 2 weeks later, and that was like August of 2004.
Wow, that's incredible. I appreciate that. It puts a lot of backstory, not only to our relationship, because I get to hear an awesome story while sitting here with you, but also if you have an opportunity to head over to YouTube, you can definitely search Fairway Mortgage, and you can see LO Confidential Loan Officer life over here. LO Confidential is playing in the background here, and these stories are putting more color to what you're seeing on YouTube, and it's really neat to see that and feel that, especially if you might have been in Derek's shoes. You might be in Derek's shoes right now. You might think you're in the perfect position or the dream position, but then it's not really what you're looking for or where you want to be. You might have some goals or aspirations, and listen, if you want to get a conversation going, are you here for them? You want to get a conversation going with some people if they're interested in talking about what it's like over here at Fairway?
Yeah, for sure. I mean, we're always looking for teammates. It's we're not a hard sell though. I mean, we're an organization that has a very specific type of person that we're looking for. We look for people that are humble, hungry, and smart. And our whole thing is that you have to be all three. And I don't mean for that to come off like pompous. I don't mean for that to come off like we're better than or anything like that. It's a culture thing, and it's a personality fit thing. We have a no asshole policy. And so when you go outside, and I've tried and I've failed forward, trying to get a square peg to fit in a round hole, it's just swimming upstream, and it's not good for the person that we bring into the organization, and then it's not good for the organization. So nobody's really enjoying life, and nobody is firing on all cylinders and performing it at the absolute maximum capacity that they have. And it's a waste of everybody's time essentially. So we kind of know what we're looking for. I mean, look, I thought, I literally just got done saying like, hey, I thought this is what I was going to do for the rest of my life. Things change. The only constant in the world is change. It's just how you adapt to change. There's this book by Jim Collins. It's called Built to Last, and it talks about visionary leaders and what separates them from their competitors. And it gives a list of like 10 Fortune 500 businesses that everybody in the world realistically have heard of, their household names, and then a competitor that is kind of like by the wayside. Examples like Netflix versus Blockbuster, right? Like how did Netflix, Blockbuster try to buy Netflix at one point.
Right.
Yeah, right. And then,
imagine.
Yeah, so and then Netflix tried to buy Blockbuster, and they didn't, and like what a mistake that was. So what's a combination of how did these companies change or adapt with the times versus those that didn't? And that's very synonymous with loan officers. The mortgage business is cyclical, but it's also changing constantly. It's constantly evolving. So, sometimes your playbook needs to change too. We are no different.
That's awesome. I appreciate it. I'm a big sports guy. I love sports. That like gets me excited. It's almost like the coach kind of saying, if you're not willing to put in the work or you're not ready for it, maybe it's not for you, and that's okay. So that's exciting. So I want to kind of segue that into. We talked about how'd you get in the industry, that was an exciting story. Excuse me. Now let's kind of go into. How has Fairway personally affected you? So I can tell just from the stories how it's affected you as you personally as a younger man. But how did this affect you when you came over to Fairway as a leader now? Now you're in a leadership position. You're leading people. I see how you are dating. I mean, we're in an office right now. I want you to know that. We've got Peter Lencioni's book right there. I can see it on the bookshelf here. We've got loan officers, I call them mortgage advisors. We've got mortgage advisors that are out here day to day, just absolutely loving it with their real estate partners, engaging, having fun, creating more market share. So as a leader, how has all of that? You've created all of this. How has this impacted you as a leader first, as a man, and just overall?
I think that when we came here, a byproduct that happened to me that I was not expecting was, so I came here to do more loans and make more money, and what ended up happening was that I got humbled, and we were very, I don't want to say cocky, but I think that we thought that we were better and bigger than we were. And whenever we got here, you realize that we were kind of like ants among giants. And rather than have that be a blow to the ego, we started looking at like, wow, these are people that are in the same organization. These are people that we're all selling the same flavor ice cream. They're just doing it in a different part of the country. So if they've got the same product, the same process, and essentially the same jersey that they're wearing, and these people are having massive level of success, what can we learn from them, and what are they willing to share with us? To where, I mean, we're not splitting atoms here. We're not inventing fire. We're literally just swiping and adapting. So if people are willing to share that information with us, what can we grab, implement, and make ourselves better? Because we had loan officers in the company that were doing more business than our entire branch when we came here in 2017. And that was a very humbling memory. I mean, that is a vivid, lucid memory of my first interaction here. You know, our previous company, I think we were like top 4 or top 5 at $100 million a year, $130 million a year. And in the grand scheme of things, it's not that that's not nothing here, but there are loan officers that are still producing more than that here. So it was, number one, it humbled us, and it kind of gave us a mental reset. But it was also exactly what it is that we were looking for. Everything that we were taught rather, in the mortgage business was all about profitability and risk. And when we came to Fairway, it was about leadership and people, and learning how to lead, and taking clues and taking suggestions from people that had a lifetime of experience, where we were essentially babies still, and listening rather than kind of like, rebutting them and thinking that we knew more than them, or that we had it all figured out, because we certainly didn't. And then what I noticed is that when we started to apply these things and listen and learn, and then take these ideals and then take these principles and implement them in our business, we exploded. When we started being about more people and less profit, the profit followed, and the people just grew astronomically. And that was like a transition, and one of the things that actually, me personally, led me to want to come to Fairway. I got recruited by another company, and I remember, did not go there, but I remember him asking me on the initial recruiting call, are you mission motivated or are you money motivated? And at that point in my life, it was like a transcendent moment, because I remember thinking to myself, I am so embarrassed. I don't know how to answer this question. If I tell you that I like money because that's how I pay my bills, like, I can't go to Bank of America and pay my mortgage with hugs and high fives.
That sounds like the loaded question, interview question. Like, are you looking for the person who's going to say, I'm so hungry, I want to make money. So you don't really know how to answer that, right?
Yeah.
Sometimes we don't always answer truthfully in certain situations. We might answer what, not necessarily not truthfully, but we might want to answer more catered to the person that we're speaking to. So we might think that's what they're looking for. So how did you answer? Did you say money? Did you say, I'm looking for money, I want money?
No, I was very honest.
Of course not, right? What'd you say?
I told him, that's a really good question. Nobody's ever asked me that question before. I don't know how to answer it. And I said, I really I need to sleep on that. Which
is a solid answer in and of itself. Like, that's okay, right? That's a solid business tip for people.
It was, but I think what ended up happening is that was the catalyst for change for me, because it was one of those things where, and now in retrospect, I mean, that was almost 10 years ago. He was just doing what we're doing. He is weeding out the people that is ultimately or are not going to be a fit for his organization. If your guiding light is money, we're not the best fit for you. And had I said money, in retrospect, I don't know that he would have said no to begin with, but he probably would have been like, well, we're more mission motivated than we are money motivated. So if you're only motivated by money and you're not motivated by mission, you're going to do what's always best for you, and you're not going to always do what's best for the team. And I think that the most successful organizations and leadership are team-first organizations. People that will buy in to something that's bigger than just themselves, and they'll say we rather than me. What's in it for us? What's in it for the team? What can we accomplish together to where you can reach such higher highs on a team than you can just swimming upstream by yourself. That's my opinion.
No, it's 100%. I mean, I think it's 100% fact. If you want to go fast, go alone. If you want to go far, go together.
Yep.
It's extremely important. I think you've touched on so many important things here. I You're leaving me like speechless here. I'm usually a guy who like talks. I'm ready to like, right? I mean, come on. I think this is fantastic. I mean, this was not like a scripted kind of thing. This was not prepared in advance.
No, definitely wasn't. It was like, yo, can I get you for 10 minutes?
Yeah, I was looking for 10 minutes, and this is D. I mean, this is awesome. So, I hope this stuff is resonating with you. I hope you're feeling this way and taking like some serious nuggets out of the conversation we're having today. So, so with all that being said, I appreciate everything that you shared with me. I hope this is just the beginning. I hope we're going to start sharing a lot more of these. Maybe we could try to make like a weekly out of this. Hopefully, I mean, he's so busy. I'm going to be the guy who's going to throw out the numbers here because when I came here, I get to see it. The numbers are astronomical. So we might have said a lot of things that you're going to hear a lot of humble, and you're going to hear that we're mission, not money. So maybe you don't think the money's there. New England Patriots won how many Super Bowls?
7.
You know, the money's there, guys. So the opportunity is there.
Excuse me, 6.
Yeah, okay.
The Patriots
we got
won
a
6.
Steelers fan.
Brady won 7.
Yeah, well, I heard a question that is who is named the 3 teams that have had a winning record of the last like 4 seasons in the NFL. The Steelers are in there. We're always a winning record, right? You guys are always doing well.
Well, I mean, just because I'm a fan, I know Tomlin for 17 years has not had a losing season. So, I mean, that's 500 or better. So 500 is not winning technically, right? But what you can say is that he hasn't lost.
Yeah. So we're going to keep this rolling. I want to leave you guys with like an impactful kind of, we're on sports things. So I got to say this. Hey, did you do anything like kind of crazy? I got a little mini puck here. I'm a hockey fan. Did you do anything last night? What did you do last night?
Drank tequila from the cup.
Let's go. What cup? Whose cup?
The Stanley Cup.
Sir Stanley himself. So you guys are following along with Derek Fertig. You get to see this cool stuff. Get to kind of peel back the onion into his life as a leader and the things that he does. But I'd like you to leave us with like a why. It could be one of these things or maybe a mesh of them, but like kind of a why, an impactful statement or a piece of advice.
Loaded question.
Yeah. I feel like for you, a lot of them are interconnected.
No, that's true.
And maybe you take like a PSL sip. You know, 'cause it's officially, we're in September, football season. We're rocking. We're after Labor Day, so it's officially ski season, right? Can we get going to some ski? So what are you thinking? Leave us with a nice moment here.
I saw this video that Will shared on his story. And I love just picking the brains of other successful entrepreneurs and leaders. And I cannot for the life of me remember who this gentleman was, but that's the premise of this page is that this young guy just pops up and asks entrepreneurs questions about lessons that they've learned and things that they would share with people who are in the come up stage, right? Like looking for guidance. And I'm going to mess this up, but it was like, if a bird lands on a branch, does he trust the branch or does he trust his wings? And I was like, oh, where's this going? And then so he goes on to say, I've seen a bird fall from a branch, but I've never seen the bird hit the ground and die. That's because right before they do, they flap their wings and they fly. So you will always trust your wings. So I'm thinking to myself, like, what the hell does that even mean? And so it may mean something different to everybody else. It's like art, right? How you can have 2 people look at a painting and you have the curator that says, what do you see? And you have 2 different people say 2 completely different things, but looking at the exact same piece. So for me, it just meant like, trust yourself. And what I mean by that is like, sometimes you just have to, I've been called, and I've heard other people called in my career lucky so many times. And I think of the flapping your wings as the equivalent of creating your own luck. I have found that the harder I work, the luckier I get. And people will say that that's luck. And you know what? And sometimes it is. But it's being in the right place at the right time by working to get myself in the right place at the right time. To then luck creates, was it 10 minutes?
No, it's actually just, I have alarms that go off at 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. I'm on the IT side too. I ruined that. Luck is preparation meeting opportunity.
Yes, that's
right?
success. That's the definition of success. Success is when luck and preparation meets opportunity.
That is so cool. Was it Daniel Mack?
No.
Was Daniel Mack the guy that's like, what do you do?
No. It was
We're going to find out who that was. You guys comment. If you're watching this or you see a YouTube or this is a social media post, comment.
I'll find it.
Yeah.
I'll find it because I think Will just actually responded to me about something else, but I remember messaging him on it. I was like, I love that.
Yeah.
Like that last one-liner that the guy did. And it was that one, for whatever reason on that, they just resonated with me. But I remember that. Like, I remember once upon a time, early in my career, I was in a sales meeting, and somebody piped up to one of the like big dogs on the team at that time, which was not me.
Right.
And they were like, yeah, he's just lucky. And this guy turns around and he goes, I guess I've just been getting lucky for 25 years. And I was like, boom, right? And then so we went to lunch after that. And he's like, dude, I'm in here at 7:30 in the morning. I'm out at 6. The guy that's calling me lucky is coming in at 9, leaving at 4. They're doing minimum and they're expecting the maximum. Meanwhile, I'm doing the maximum, worried that I'm not even going to hit the minimum. And I was just like, damn, that's real.
I wanted to drop this, but then I knew it was going to make that like I'm going to ruin the audio. Dude, I'm wearing the Jordans every day, and it's not for Jordan, it's for Ted Lasso. If you guys watch Ted Lasso, if you guys check it out. Yeah. We love the sports analogies. I love this stuff. Eric, thank you so much.
Yeah, man.
We got to get back to work.